The mark of the beast does not exist today. It's something still in the world's future, set to appear during the tribulation. However, the technology to implement the mark of the beast system is coming into being today. And more importantly, everyday people are more than willing to adopt that technology. This means that the platform for the mark of the beast system, the foundation for the mark of the beast system, is being set in place today as we speak. Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is the role of technology and the coming mark of the beast system that we're seeing put into place right now. So the first thing I want to do is address what is the mark of the beast? What is the system? So we're going to go to Revelation 13 verses 16 through 17. That's where we find this reference to the mark of the beast. It says, He being the Antichrist, required everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. So here we have this future point in time during the tribulation where the Antichrist will control the world, and he will force everyone on the face of the earth to get this mark on their forehead or on their right hand. Without it, you can't buy or sell. So what does this require? This requires a number of things. First, buying and selling traditionally has used coinage and paper currency. We would have to see those go away. We would have to see them replaced with some sort of new monetary system or transaction system that allowed for a loss of privacy and the ability to track individual people. And then we would have to see government have a centralized position over top of that currency system so that they could control who's cut off from it, who is unable to buy and sell as a result. So are we seeing these types of things come into play in our world today? Yes, we are. And go to this article right here. This is from just last week. It says green payments to let consumers pay by fingerprint at U.S. stores. This says merchants across the U.S. will soon be able to accept biometric payments authenticated by a customer's fingerprint using a point-of-sale solution launched by payment processing provider Green Payments. The solution will allow users to link different payment options stored in a digital wallet, including credit cards, bank accounts, and cryptocurrencies, to individual fingers, and then make in-store purchases at the point of sale by tapping the relevant finger on a biometric sensor. So here we see a system being implemented that takes away use of currency and coinage as we've traditionally used them, and it replaces it with this new system that's centralized. We see it says all of your credit cards, bank accounts, and cryptocurrencies are linked to what? Your fingerprint. So the individual is linked directly to these things and cannot, well, in this case, has the convenience for the moment of being able to pay with their fingerprint and not have to carry these things around. But what that does is it links them to that, and they are able to be, everything they buy and sell will be tracked in real time and linked specifically to them. So that leads us into this next article, which I found quite mind-boggling. This is from the Duluth News Tribune. It says, soon, some will get through Twin Cities airport security with a fingerprint or iris scan. It says, going through airport security can be wildly inconsistent. You never know if you'll be in line for just a few minutes or for an hour or more. Technology soon to arrive at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport could make this annoying process a lot more predictable and expeditious while adding a touch of sci-fi pizzazz. Don't you love this high-ended journalistic language, right? Sci-fi pizzazz. New York City-based Clear is installing terminals that use biometrics, think fingerprints or eyeball irises, to identify travelers in a jiffy. There's some more journalistic language for you in a jiffy, right? 5 of these terminals are to be set up in the airport's Lindbergh terminal, 3 at the southern end and 2 on the north side by next month. Such a fingerprint or eyeball scanning procedure looks to speed up check-ins for registered Clear users because they'll get dedicated lanes that no one else can use. The Twin Cities Airport will have 2 such express lanes. In practice, Clear users could find themselves whipping through security time after time while others cool their heels in long, pokier moving queues. Again, you read this stuff and you think, this journalism is supposed to be straightforward, nothing but the facts. It's not supposed to be filled with all these adjectives and leading phrases that push you toward drawing a certain conclusion, such as, wow, it would be so convenient if only I could just scan my irises and fingerprints so that I didn't have to wait in those super long lines. But, I want you to keep this in mind as this Mark of the Beast system is implemented. The way they're going to do this is by offering enticements, right? Every part of the system, they're going to offer enticements. You don't want to wait in a long line, right? All you have to do is this, and it'll be fast. You'll get through the line in a jiffy, right? All you have to do is trade your freedom, your liberty, your privacy, and you'll get through that line in a jiffy, right? So no problem here. But they offer these special incentives. Here's this incentive. If you just sign up for this, you don't have to wait in the long lines. And that's how they draw people in. Once you enter that cage to grab that treat, they slam the door shut behind you. So you need to be aware of these things because they're going to push more and more people into these types of systems. This says Clear users would still have to go through metal detectors and bag scanners, but would hypothetically get to those much more quickly. Well, which one is it? Are they going to get through in a jiffy? Or are they, well, hypothetically, you might get through somewhat. And then it goes on to talk about how they have X number of these things already set up, 21 different airports. And it says the Twin Cities Airport will also have a handful of registration terminals for travelers who want to get set up with the system. This is a 3-step process. First, they answer detailed questions based on their personal histories, like where they lived and what kind of cars they owned, right? Because those are the types of things that you have to reveal to fly on an airplane is, your whole life history of where you've lived and the types of cars you've owned. What I guess they're getting at here is these types of identity verification systems that you might encounter with like filing a tax return. But that opens the idea of, think about it, they already have this database with this detailed history of everywhere you've lived, every car you've owned, every bit of data that the government has gathered on you in your entire lifetime. And it's in this terminal kiosk in the airport waiting for you to come and do the second step, which is to scan your IDs such as driver's licenses, passports, or military cards, scanned and verified. Third, they have their 10 fingerprints and 2 irises scanned and registered. So now you can link all of your personal information with your fingerprints and your iris scans. No concerns there, nothing to be worried about here. It's safe. Don't have to worry about hackers getting into that database that contains all of that. But this is what they're asking people to do. And we scroll down and, they really have the hard sell in this article with quote after quote of people talking about it's like the golden certificate in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And, it's incredibly easy to sign up and go through the necessary steps. It was especially easy for me. The whole process took less than 5 minutes, and once I went through the process, I was immediately escorted to the front of the line. It was a pleasant and surprisingly fast experience. And then we had this next one. It says, they escort you to the front of the line, and you actually get to cut in front of everyone. And they put your bags on the belt, and people are like, who is this guy? It's fantastic. So you see what they're doing here. They're trying to sell this. This is their enticement. This is the cheese and the mousetrap. people are going to look at you and think you're so cool and you must be important because you can go to the front of the line and, you're going to get through so much faster than everybody. Be aware of what you're giving up. But we get to the end here and we read, Clear recently logged 700,000 registered users and said it's now on its way to the million mark, with the Twin Cities and Los Angeles airports on board, as well as 21 other ones that they mentioned earlier in the article. It claims it will have a presence at facilities used by a majority of U.S. air travelers. Clear is also offering its technology to sports stadiums. It's using biometric check-ins for the Yankees, Mets, Marlins, Giants, and Rockies parks. So guys, this is where they're taking all of this. This is the system that they're trying to draw us in. There's all sorts of different systems in parallel, but they're all going to be consolidated one day by the Antichrist. But this is all the beginnings of this and what they're trying to do. So they're trying to get so many people into this that if you even want to go see a baseball game, well, got to get those irises scanned. Want to fly on an airplane? Give me your fingerprints and your eyeballs, They're trying to get this to a point where so many people have joined up that then they can close the door on those that haven't and said, well, why haven't you signed up for the fingerprints and iris scans? Well, you can't come watch a baseball game. There's security measures in place. We can't have somebody in the baseball park that hasn't had their irises scanned. So this is what they're going to be pushing, and they're going to be drawing a lot of people into this. And the next on the horizon is they're going to be pushing these central bank digital currencies, which is going to be a form of that green payments technology before, where they link you personally to your account, and they're going to use enticements just like this. They're going to say, come claim your digital wallet with the government. There's $10,000 waiting for you. Or a month later, you haven't joined. There's $25,000 waiting for you. And then for every dollar of paper currency you turn into the government, we'll give you 10 digital dollars. And people will find these temptations too much to pass up, and they will willingly walk into the cage. And once you walk into the cage, like I said, they slam that door shut and they have you. And at that point, if you don't do what you're requested to do, you'll just be cut off from that system. And no more flying on airplanes, no more going to baseball games, no more doing anything, really. No more shopping at grocery stores or having a job or anything like that. Which leads into our next story. This is from Unreported Truths. This is a Substack for Alex Berenson. Alex is a former reporter for the New York Times who made headlines last summer when he was banned from Twitter for tweeting out news items that didn't fit the official narrative, right? And then he subsequently sued Twitter for doing that. As part of the discovery process, it came to light that members of the White House staff directly communicated with high-level people at Twitter and specifically requested that Alex Berenson be removed, that he be silenced. So here we have the United States government attacking freedom of speech and freedom of the press. And so as a result of that lawsuit, Alex Berenson's Twitter account was reinstated. Well, now it's been locked again. Why? Well, for violating the rules. He's spreading misleading information, right? We can't have that. Now, keep in mind that last year when Alex got banned from Twitter for the things that he was tweeting about, all those things he tweeted about turned out to be true. And they're now acknowledged as true. And but it shouldn't matter, right? He should have freedom of speech without worry that the government is going to interfere with that process, because we don't have freedom and liberty if this happens. But we're seeing this merger of government corporate power that I believe is going to play a pivotal role in the Antichrist and his ability to implement this mark of the beast system. So this is all part of this system, this platform, this foundation that's being laid right now. It's not just Twitter doing this stuff. I'm sure you saw this article last week that says, new PayPal policy lets company pull $2,500 from users' accounts if they, quote, promote misinformation. Right? So PayPal put this out. They're going to let you know that you better stay in your lane and you better do what you're told. Well, it didn't work out too well for them, because we read this article a few days later. It says PayPal's dystopian financial censorship scheme backfires. PayPal is one of the biggest digital finance companies in the world, but the popular platform stepped on an absolute minefield when it recently published a disturbing, borderline dystopian, well, I would just call it dystopian, not borderline, quote, misinformation policy promising to fine users who commit speech crimes. You may not use the PayPal service for activities that involve the sending, posting, or publication of any messages, content, or materials that in PayPal's sole discretion promote misinformation, PayPal's policy read. It further noted that the company would access users' bank accounts and subtract them $2,500 fines per infraction if they ran afoul of PayPal's subjective perspective on, quote, misinformation. After news of this policy update emerged, the backlash was swift and severe. Countless social media users posted about their decision to cancel their PayPal accounts in light of the disturbing policy. The company's stock took a hit, and critical press coverage spread like wildfire. The pressure campaign worked. Well, sort of. PayPal quickly walked back the misinformation policy. The company claimed that the policy was released in error. An AUP notice recently went out in error that included incorrect information, the company said in a statement. PayPal is not fining people for misinformation, and this language was never intended to be our inserted policy. Oh, it's never intended. Guys, don't think for a minute that as soon as all of the uproar from this dies down in the media, PayPal isn't going to slip this right back in there. And they aren't alone. Other companies, these big corporations, they're going to do the same thing, because the people that want to implement these policies, they just go toward one company after another and they pressure them to submission to do these types of things. And this is where we're headed. We're headed toward, fining people, banning people, pressuring people, coercing people, and trying to push them into this cage. And again, where does all this lead? Well, we get a glimpse of this. This is a tweet from Wall Street Silver. It has a video from China in it. It says, "This is insane. This is in Shenzhen, China. These digital sentinels, aka QR code passport machines, are everywhere, including your home. They are tracking every time you go anywhere now." And so we watch this. I'm going to turn the sound off because it's just subtitles anyway. And we go on and we see as this person goes to enter their own apartment, they have to have a facial scan. They have to scan their face just to enter that turnstile to go into the apartment behind them. And of course, the same thing is required when they leave. So again, I'm not exaggerating when I say that as we submit to these things, as we fail to take a stand against these types of measures, we're walking into a cage and they are literally closing the door behind us. And once you're in there, once you're in that cage, there's no escape. As you see, if the Chinese authorities are looking for you and you're in China, they will find you. They have cameras everywhere. They have facial recognition technology. And they can scan millions of faces in seconds and pick you out of a crowd, even if they have a photo from 30 years ago and you've since changed your appearance. It doesn't matter. They're going to find you. And that's where we're heading. So where does all this head next? Again, I believe that it is central bank digital currencies is where they're ultimately trying to push us toward. It's just one more of these types of technologies that's leading to this Mark of the Beast platform, this foundation for the Mark of the Beast system. And I believe the rollout of it may very well be the upcoming food crisis. We already know that because of the energy crisis, fertilizer production has been decreased significantly. The prices of fertilizer have gone up. Not as much fertilizer has been used, so that means future harvest won't be able to yield what they have in the past. And we're already seeing in some places security tags being put on items in the grocery store. And we're seeing guards being posted at the front of the grocery store. As inflation goes up, as people get more desperate, they're going to turn to theft. And of course, for our own security, for our own help, they're going to say, well, why don't we implement this rationing system? And the way we'll enforce that is through fingerprints and iris scans, right? Because you can counterfeit a ration card, but your iris is your iris and your fingerprint is your fingerprint, right? And then the next thing you know, we'll be like in Dubai, where it says in wealthy Dubai, the poor get free bread from machines. Yes, bread for all, right? So then we'll have machines that distribute your daily ration of bread. And of course, you'll have to scan your irises or give your fingerprints or who knows what to get that bread out, because we don't want you getting any more bread. And of course, the machine, we don't have to worry about the machine having any sort of human empathy or feeling bad for you and slipping you a little bit of extra bread, because it's a machine and it'll simply tell you, nope, you've had your daily ration for the day, go away, right? Guys, this is where we're going. We're going into this world, and doesn't look good. And we need to stand up against it as much as we can. Now, the Bible is very clear. The mark of the beast system is coming, regardless of what we do. But that doesn't mean that we should just lay down and get walked over and allow this to come into being. But we need to realize when we give up privacy, when we give up freedom, when we give up liberty for security or convenience, or so that we can get to the front of the line in a jiffy, right? When we're willing to give these things up, we're willingly enslaving ourselves. So we need to push back against this. You need to avoid these types of systems. There's no reason that they should have to scan your irises or your fingerprints in order to get on a plane or to go to a baseball game. There's just no reason for it. There's no reason we need central bank digital currencies. Economies have operated for thousands of years using gold, silver, and even little paper fiat pieces of currency. We don't need the system, this closed-in, centralized government system that's going to take away everyone's freedom and liberty. We don't need it, so push back. So guys, again, I know this all sounds like bad news. You know, they want to scan your irises, they want to scan your fingerprints, they want to put it all in a big database so they know where you are, everywhere you are, everything you're doing. But, you know, yes, this is bad news, and yes, this is going to get worse because the mark of the beast will one day, during the tribulation, be implemented. However, the good news is Jesus Christ rose again. He was crucified for our sins, and he rose again. He lives today. He is preparing a place for us, for those who believe in him. And if you're one of them, he's coming for you soon, because Jesus is coming back. Jesus gave us a promise. He said, when you see all these things happen, you know his return is near. He's right at the door. So guys, be joyful, be filled with hope. Jesus is coming back. So what do you think? Are you going to get your irises scanned? You're going to get your fingerprints put into a database so you can get bread out of the machine? You're going to do all that stuff? Let me know. Make sure to like this, share this, and God willing, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletter and get your copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Just follow the link in the description to get your free book. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.